Yeah. So, ooh, girl. So I love okay, a couple things. I saw most of my re came on and made a video. And basically, she talks about a lot of different things, but one of the things that she talks about was like commentary channels and TikTok compilations. And I want to explain something because I feel like the especially the African TikTok compilation girlies are doing God's work for people like me. Like I live in the real world, so like I just have shit to do in the day, or even if I had things to write about, like I'm not sitting on TikTok all day consuming what all the girlies are putting out, right? So this is how like some of y'all have been talking about like Instagram, Face, or whatever the fuck you're talking about, and I just missed all of it because like I'm not scrolling on TikTok all day. But there are lots of people, especially Gen Z, who like legitimately don't do shit all day. So like they have the time, girl. They got time to just endlessly scroll forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And yeah, so the cool thing about Destiny Ute, there's like six different like YouTube compilation girlies. There's the Kenyan twins. I love all of this because they're putting together they do scour TikTok all day and then they find the topics that are relevant to like the black girlies and they put all of the like commentary about those issues together, and then I can watch like 15 minutes of it at the end of my day and be like, okay, so this is what happened. Okay, so this is what happened. And then like they make so many of them. I don't even have to watch all of them. There are a few of them. So if you don't understand what those like commentary the TikTok compilation girlies are for, they're probably not for you. They're for people like me. Because she was explaining, she's like, yeah, but I could just go on TikTok. Everybody's not on TikTok. And then the way that TikTok works, it's like it moves with the time, so the algorithm keeps going. YouTube is like long form content that like is time stamped and just stays. So like I can go back and search to find that old Khadijah video that's about this topic that I really care about, and it'll be there and I can find it. It's not really like that for TikTok. You can follow creators, and I guess you could go back and kind of find their content, but then now that things aren't monetized, that means things are like gone. Anyway, one of the topics that came up today that I thought was really interesting, excuse me, I'm sorry, I had that water, is the, what is his name? Uncommon public offender, sorry, public offender makes a video and it was like responding to something that Dean Withers said. So Dean Withers was like talking to this alpha male guy, and the alpha male guy was trying to make a point. He's like, yeah, the women should be saving themselves for marriage, and shouldn't be hooking up, right? And then so Dean Withers is like, oh, okay, so then if the women aren't hooking up, are you hooking up? And are you hooking up with the women? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm hooking up with women. And then he was like, okay, so if the women shouldn't be hooking up, but then you're hooking up with the women, if the women stop hooking up, who would you be hooking up with? The men? And the dude was like, wait, no, no, no. And I think like that logic circle has been the most confusing part to me too for so long. They're making all these claims. The women shouldn't be doing this. The women shouldn't be doing that. Oh, the women are this. The women are that. And then I think there's the propaganda aspect of it, and then the reality aspect of it. Especially in the black community, here's the thing that really fucking like yucks my yum, and then it also just confuses the shit out of me. There are like so many black girls are they grow up in the church. Then there's like the foster impoverished black girls who grow up in like foster care for real. And then some of them do end up on, well, I've talked about this, the Blade, right? We've talked about what the Blade is. Then there's just like the middle class black girls who are having more of an American experience. I think like I would fall into like that category. So my existence is not based on like the church or religions specifically. It's just more like based on my own personal interest and this individualism, right, that I personally experience by engaging in activities that are interesting to me because I want my life to be interesting, right? So while a lot of other people don't care about these like, black TikTok compilation channels. I do because they're really interesting for me to engage with. And they, to me, these women and these creators are like culture and society writers. So I actually write about them and the social significance that they're bringing to my life. And if they have Patreon channels, like, I subscribe. I buy annual subscriptions. I'll buy monthly subscriptions. I'll share it with friends in my life that I feel like would have similar interests. And these, it's like a hobby for me. Like, while I'm at the gym, I like listening to the Audacity podcast. I'll just put it on and then like walk on the treadmill. Or there are some other creators, some male creators, I just put on their stuff to learn about foreign policy while I'm literally just like walking on the treadmill. Like, that's what I do. um but then I have, like, a job. So like I have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like doing all of that and then also living in the real world and earning my money. But I will say I definitely have an ambition to move away and save quite a lot of money and use that money to fund a life that is exclusively based on writing, because there are so many of these topics that I'm seeing come up that I want to dive into full time, like full time. And I want that to be like a thing. I also just want to really say I feel like I see a very carved out lane for Black female content creators. And then I want to explain why based on that public offenders video. So the public offender made, it was like a compilation of a bunch of men who were describing how unattractive they find women. And I have so many feelings about this. There are men who are coming online and they were like, there are so many women, there's so many women, these women are so unattractive. Like, when they go out each day, they have to like put on their hair and they have to like put on their makeup and they have to like do all these things, and they're just so unattractive. And I was thinking to myself, like, huh, okay. And but then they went on to say like the men are so attractive. And I was like, oh. And then Destiny Uche shares a video about this man, this gay white man, who was married to a woman for 15 years and then had a whole affair with their OBGYN, who's a male, and then divorces her, has a baby, and then has the baby with the wife, divorces the wife, goes on to be in a long-term relationship with the man. Um it was just like, this to me is the future of America. America is the country where the gay men go to live out their wildest dreams. And that's how I know. And to take this one step further, I feel like this is why there's no need for women. Like, women can, right now, you can live a life of real freedom in America, because like, who's going to stop you? Like, whatever you can pay for, you can like have that, and no one has the right to like take it from you. And you could be relatively safe in having it. Relatively, I do think that that is going to change. I think it's really critical for women to start to look at the destruction. How do we say this? Faith is being lost in the American society by men with no power and no money. And as this happens in mass, the men are going to start breaking shit. And I don't know if you really want to be here for that. So keep that in mind, sort of thing. But also, right now, it's like, yeah, you could just, pay for some, food, coffee, one or two outfits, and like hit the town. There's a lot to see, tons of parks, like an endless amount of like things that you can consume. And then if you consume and share, so like you consume and then tell the other girlies about it, you could probably end up monetizing your content. And that's kind of where I'm going here. I think that the men coming on in mass talking about how the women are so undesirable has much more to do with them, because we all like like you can see all the micro communities, all the macro communities, even if you're not a part of it. So like remember when I was talking about how like some girls are writing about the West Village girls because they don't know any West Village girls. Like they've never lived in the West Village. Like everything about the West Village girls' culture is different than where and how they grew up. This is why social class matters. And it's just going to get more and more segregated and clustered. But here's the thing, if you have the internet, you only need to know one person from that other social group that you're not a part of, and they can start explaining things to you. That's why I think a lot of people find utility in my content. Like, there's some people who will just get so upset by what I say, and then they'll be like, oh, whatever, I'm leaving. I just want to like end this part of the internet or whatever, as though like what I'm saying is coming from nowhere. But like I'm not saying things that I learned from the internet. Like I'm saying things that I've learned in my real life. And I'm just sharing with the internet this like um my observations about the society in which I live and the experiences that I've actually had. This is how I can talk about certain things that are like relative to, pretty privilege or uh we'll call it looks maxing, but I think it's more like a general attractiveness, facial symmetry. Like just a really good way to look at this is like it's the Ice Spice conundrum. Like I think that she's just such a case study for everything wrong with America. So if you look at where like how social class works and then the way that like women gravitate toward money, even perceived money, right? Then all women, not just attractive women, would want to date men who just have some resources or the perception of resources. But if you know anything about America and the like sort of racial caste system of the country, then you understand that like the black men don't have any money. Like 99% of them like don't have any money. So you can't like, but that doesn't mean that those men are not like biologically male. They are. So in the same way that all the other men want women, those men want women too. So there has to be some, so in that like poor black community, there has to be some women that are like the attractive ones, even if like to the rest of the world and society those women are like not attractive at all. To that group they have to be raised and elevated, or at least just recognized as like generally attractive. And so I started to watch this. I wish I would have made more compilations about it. But like if you go back and find videos of all the Ice Spice shows, at every single show, it's like her performing and she's like walking around in these like booty shorts or whatever, just very scantily dressed with like a very long red wig. But like she, okay, if we're talking about generally like what attractiveness is and what attractiveness not, like she's like Glorilla looking, right? So, but then look at the people who are in her audience. Like, it's like really very, very dark skinned men who are like, I don't know, 100, 200 pounds overweight. Everyone is like pretty like I won't even, is it streetwear? Like whatever they're wearing. It's like the urban population of men. I think that this is like the black incels. What do they call them? The nig cells or whatever. Those are the Ice Spice fans, and you need her and Glorilla together to like be the tokens, like the symbols, like the women in those communities. If it makes sense, it makes sense. Because then in like the other communities, you have to have like Margot Robbie, like in like the middle class, the upper middle class black, or sorry, white community, you have to have like Margot Robbie as Barbie, who's like standing up and being like super pretty. And it's like, so everyone else kind of knows like, oh my god, yeah, no, she's like really pretty, right? Or I don't know, who could we, or okay, so in like the middle upper class black community, you have to have like Lori Harvey, who's like standing there and being like really, it's like in every micro community, like you have to have like the stand up token who's like mm, the icon of the group to like symbolize to everyone else like this is what we it's like the anthropology of the group. They're icons to describe what is happening on a micro level to the macro society. The point of that though is like these men coming online being like the women are so unattractive. The women are so unattractive. There are a lot of ugly women. I'm not gonna not a lot, but like there are some and they're out here. They could be named Ice Spice. Um but it's not like all women. Like most women are just like average looking and yeah, with like a little bit of makeup, probably a little bit of gym nutrition, tips, they would just look better than they look presently. But also a lot of things just come down to like also health indicators. Like some of the shit people are fixing, like you should have just fixed this earlier just based on like your wantingness to be alive. Like having basic dental care and like getting braces and shit, that's not something that should be like looks maxing. That's called like basic dental care. Okay, like showering every day or like understanding how to take care of your like period thing, those are like basic things. And this is kind of another reason why I think it's like just so fucking hilarious. Like I have legitimately been making like the I exist content for a while. Cause like as you look around and you literally see this subhumanness of like everyone around you, you're like, oh shit, the bar is in hell. Like you don't even have to do anything. Like you could just at this point you could just floss and shower. Flossing, showering, and like brushing your teeth and like having 3 meals a day is going to genetically put you above 97% of the population. And maybe taking a walk to the park each day. Like you do those three things. You don't need a nutritionist, you don't need a dermatologist, fucking nothing. Just do that and you're like obviously like don't do drugs and you've won the lottery. And you could be an extremely unattractive person and do that because people are like killing their genetic chances just with like poor hygiene and a bad diet. Um, it's yeah. So if you follow that, maybe you should make content really about anything. Pick a show that you like and talk about that because I do want to talk about Pluribus. Wait, let's talk about Pluribus.